technology sorted out. Hello and welcome. My name is Paige Lussier Johson, and I am a spiritual teacher, and I am also a collector of brilliant souls. I love stories, and every time I meet someone, it doesn't matter whether they are in my acting world or my spiritual world or my mom world, I love hearing stories of beautiful, wonderful souls who are using their heart as a compass to live in this life in beautiful, beautiful ways. And so I started this interview series many, many years ago on Blog Talk Radio, so that way I could interview my acting friends who were producing their own plays and shows and just really living out the artist life in ways that I thought was very brave and very beautiful. And then I became a Reiki master, and I started meeting more of the spiritual people and realizing that the message was still the same: using your heart as a compass, following your inner guidance to live a life that's outside of the box. Most of us grow up as children and we're told that we're supposed to do this and this and this and this. And we're kind of taught that there's this linear lifestyle for success and happiness, which I don't feel to be the case. And as I've grown older and wiser over the years, I've seen that to be 100% true. And so this series, for everyone that's watching, for everyone that comes in, is going to be a place for you to connect with your own beautiful soul and your own beautiful story, to see that you're exactly where you need to be, that you're not lost, you're not wrong, you haven't even left the path, that everything that's happened to you up until this point is exactly what was supposed to happen to you to get you to where you are today. And just feeling the beauty of that moment. And so my special guest for today is one of my soul sisters, Larissa Riley. Larissa and I met when we were in the School for Wisdom together with our teacher, Shakti Botazzi, who is from Argentina, also lived in Italy, kind of creating roots now as well as in Mount Shasta. She does an amazing school program for spiritual healers who are stepping out into their spiritual leadership, which Larissa and I both went through the School of Wisdom and the Wisdom Mastery Academy. It was beautiful. And she was a very close soul sister of mine during that very intense spiritual shedding process. Shakti also does the rays series, where she works on the sacred rays and the kohans and channels them beautiful messages. And so Larissa and I have gone through a beautiful healing experience, a beautiful, evolution speech, stepping into our spiritual leadership over the last 2 or 3 years. And she has some amazing things coming up right now. And I told her when she was ready, I wanted to interview her because her story is fantastic. So a little bit about Larissa before we begin. As a native of South Africa, Larissa has a deep appreciation for different cultures and the commonalities that unite us all. Her experience working as a tourist guide and founding a cultural exchange youth program allowed her to connect with individuals from all over the world and realize that despite our diverse backgrounds, we all share a common bond in our hearts. Larissa's spiritual practice centers around shamanic principles with extensive knowledge of energy healing. A testament to her dedication to spiritual growth and healing are her BA in metaphysics and receiving lineage rights from the Quiero Inca Nation, and I might be saying that wrong. As a result of her own life path, Larissa has transmuted pain and suffering in joy and purpose. Larissa's deep compassion and love are now put to personal freedom, liberation, and joy. Larissa's enthusiasm for spiritual travel is infectious as she leads others on her transformative journeys. Her philosophy is that being in a foreign country and culture is the ultimate experience of living in the moment and getting to know oneself. Join her as she explores the world and discovers the beauty and diversity and power of the human spirit. And I won't be too much of a spoiler alert, but she has some wonderful spiritual travel planned coming up. And she has, with her years of connections, she has been able to carve out just amazing opportunities for anyone who's feeling that call to travel, that call to become closer to their spirituality and really understand who they are, and also to step into their spiritual leadership. So as we're getting ready, there is going to be a decent amount of stories and shedding and laughter and joy. But let's just take a moment to raise the vibration a little bit. I know that Larissa lives in South Africa, and in South Africa, you don't have access to electricity the way that we do. The power goes on and off at certain times of the day, and it's very limited. And so for her to get online, even to do a program like this, is very difficult. So we're just going to give her some grace to get online. She did send me a message that she's on her way and she's doing her best to be here. It's just that she doesn't have the internet capacity. Aren't we lucky that we live in a society where we can just have everything, the lights, turn it on, there it is. We don't realize how blessed we are here in the West. So I'm just going to take a moment. We're going to have some sage spray. I'm going to raise the vibration a little bit as we're holding space for Larissa to come on to the recording, to come on to the page. And I was called to use gardenia. Now, if you know me, if you've been following me for a long time, I always use essential oils. I picked out my blend, my crown chakra blend that I make and sell. And just to kind of raise the vibration. The beautiful thing about essential oils is they are made from plants and trees. So as you know, plants and trees have a higher vibration. Also, lime is coming in today to support us. So just take whatever oil you have next to you. If you have one, that's fine. Or think of a scent that brings you joy or happiness. And just take a moment to take some deep breaths. The key here really is the breath. And allowing, when you take in an essential oil, it goes right through the olfactory nerves, right to the amygdala, just activates that brain center, that emotional center of your brain, raises your vibration. For those of you that are feeling the energetic vortex that's on right now, it's no surprise that Larissa and I picked today, which is May 5th. There's a lot energetically that is going on right now. There are eclipses, there are planets in alignment that haven't been here for many years. It's a whole other topic, really, the astrology and the amazing things that are happening right now. But this is an energetic vortex. This is a portal. And so what we're going to be doing is anchoring in the light for all of the people. So that way we can have access to this information. That way we can really be holding in our own light in this moment, and also holding in the light for other people. So for all my brothers and sisters all over the planet, let's just take a moment as we hold space for Larissa to close our eyes and just anchor in our energy. Start by taking in those deep breaths and feeling all of your energy kind of floating around the top of your head. Your thoughts, your questions, your to-dos, all of those important things that are running on the hamster wheel of your brain, and just allow them to be there and route. Then take a deep breath and have that energy come to your nose, to your throat, to your heart, to your stomach, to your hips, to your knees, to your feet, and send those etheric roots down into the earth, just anchoring in your energy and anchoring in your vibration, allowing you to be here now. And thank you for doing that, my beautiful beloved souls, because we've been able to raise the vibration enough for Larissa Riley to be able to join us. She's here with us live. So Larissa, why don't you come on? I set the space and anchored everyone in. It's so beautiful to see you today. I already read your bio, which is amazing. It's so funny. I've known you. I was telling everyone that I've known you for 2+ years, and I did not know that you had a BA in metaphysics. I think that is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hi, Paige. Thank you. Thank you for having me, holding the space. Raising the vibration is always Lovely to connect with you.
Well, Larissa and I, we've been soul sisters, and we have so many experiences in this lifetime just beginning, but in the past, I think many more.
I'm sure.
um, One of the things in this radio show is I like to interview all different people, but the people who are following this, who are really involved with my series, it's because we're all learning how to use our heart as a compass. We're told from, young ages that we're supposed to do things A, B, C. And my love and my joy is finding souls like mine, like you, who've lived these lives out of the box, kind of a fearless, living an extraordinary life in an ordinary world, like still being part of this world, but also following our hearts and doing the things that we're really here to do. And so I guess my first question for you is tell me about your life and how you've used your heart as a compass. Where have you kind of gone down a different path that other people were like, no, not quite. But for you, you were like, nope, this is it. This is the next. So tell your life story from the compass perspective.
Okay, that's a huge question and
It
so
is.
important. So important. And I think you've hit the nail right on the head by saying fearless, because it truly is fear that holds the heart back, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I grew up in a patriarchal, so this tongue doesn't want to work with me today, in a patriarchal, something like that, society,
Mm-hmm.
where I was told, don't follow your heart, follow the
Oh,
mind, and I think that is where it's all gone wrong for us as a society, is by not including the heart, because the heart truly is the compass. And it took me a lot of time, but the first time I remember really, really listening to the heart and not the mind as everybody else is when I first finished studying. And at the age of 21, I decided I want to see the world. And I went off to France. Couldn't speak the language, didn't know a soul. And I landed there at the tender age of 21, where everybody else got married and had kids or started their career path. I decided, no, nowadays it's more of a thing. But way back then, nobody I knew had done that.
well, thank you for paving the path for those of us who want to travel.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it wasn't always easy, but I learned a new language. I fell completely in love, and I learned how to live in the moment and how to live fearless. Because after that experience, I knew I will always be okay. It doesn't matter where you go, what you do. If you follow your intuition, that is what happens. But most people don't really know how to do that, and how, because we had to always follow our minds, um think with your mind, don't do that, don't we all being told by
Yes,
everybody what to
yes.
do, by our parents, by our kids, by our husbands and wives, and everybody wants you to tell you how to be happy, and it doesn't really work like that. It truly
No.
comes from the soul. So where did I veer off that path? I was married for 22 years. And within the first 3 years, I should have known that I've taken the wrong path,
Mm.
because we weren't aligned in our wishes, in our beliefs, in what we wanted from life.
Mm.
But my mind said, you made a vow, you got to stick it out.
Mhm.
And everything became more and more and more wrong in my life, truly. So much so that I ended up with severe arthritis in both my knees, and I was suffering every single day. I was deemed too young for a knee replacement back then, and for 16 years I had excruciating pain, not realizing it is my body telling me you're on the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
So everything just basically collapsed. My whole life collapsed. And I didn't know what to do. I was really, really hard on myself. And I didn't know how I was going to get out of that situation because I ended up in a place where I never wanted to live and doing things that I never wanted to do. And I'm happy to say that last year I got two new knee replacements in 1 year. That was hard. I got a divorce. I started a new career and I've never been happier. It wasn't easy, but you know, when you truly listen and you follow that light and
Mm-hmm.
your whole body and everything relaxes and you feel like you're coming home.
Yeah.
You truly feel like you're coming home, and everybody on this earth was placed here for a reason. We all have a reason, and if we don't follow our hearts,
Yeah.
we will never get to that. And we will be, sitting in a corner crying in pain, in emotional pain, in physical pain. Um, so I don't even know if I answered your question, but that's the short version, Paige.
Well, the beautiful thing is I think so many of us can relate to that feeling of density, of not knowing you're not in the right space, but not knowing how to get out of it. But the interesting thing is, I think that even in those dense moments when you're feeling dense, we think, oh, I made this feeling of regret can comes in. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. But I want to talk a little bit about even during those dense times for you, there are moments where you connect the dots. So even if you're feeling dense and things aren't quite right, I think that there are still more things that are right than there are wrong, because in that density, in that not rightness, we're still learning who we are by who we aren't. And life gives you little experiences. Like I like to think of life as those connect the dot pictures where you do the 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4, but we don't get the numbers. Like we're just connecting
No,
like a random line here and a random line there and a random line here, and we don't know why we're connecting those dots, but we needed to for the bigger picture. So even now, I know I was reading your bio and you've got some really interesting connect the dots even during that phase. Like you were working with younger children, inspiring them to travel. That was during this time as well, right?
it was absolutely during this time, and that was absolutely the light of my life because I
Mm-hmm.
saw young girls fresh
Mm-hmm.
out of school not knowing what they wanted in life, and I saw adults coming back. And that was part of me living in France for a year.
Mm-hmm.
That opened the way up for my business that I had, and I worked mostly with OP USA in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole thing was I recruited young ladies to go overseas well, there were some couple of guys as well, to be au pairs and
Mm-hmm.
live with an American family for a year and get to know the culture, because cultures is absolutely one of my passions. Travel is one of my passions. So I put this together and I worked mostly, as I said, with the States, and I went every single year and I went to the orientation to see what they had to go through. And I went for meetings, and it was so rewarding getting these. We still had postcards, getting postcards from them telling me about their adventures and how they've grown, and these wonderful young people coming back and having made such big bonds with the families. I mean, most of them are still in contact with their host families. And one of the au pairs I've sent recently, 2 years ago, had her own baby. And the little girl she had way back then that she au paired for is now in South Africa taking care of her kid. It is wonderful. The bonds we can build is absolutely magnificent. And that was a big light in dark times for me, is knowing that I made a difference in other people's lives. And it was huge. It was a huge difference to them because they didn't have many opportunities. And this was just out of this world for them. I've had a couple of girls who actually went to America, came back. They stayed either 1 or 2 years because that was the option that they had. They could stay a year and then come back and go for another year, or stay 2 years. Most of them came back and went another year. And then some of them went off to Holland for a year, or to Germany, or to Denmark. Those were the main countries I worked with.
Mm,
And Paige, I cannot tell you how fulfilling it is to make such a big difference in somebody's life, and also knowing that we're building bridges between cultures, because we're not so different. We
no.
might speak different languages, but in our hearts, we are the same. We want the same things. We all want our children to be safe. We all want to lead a fulfilling life. We all want to mean something and to contribute to the world. And by doing this, there were many bridges built, and that's a part of my life that I'm very happy about, and very proud to have been able to serve in that way. That was right on track. My career was right on track. That much I can say.
Thinking like you kept saying the word bridge, and I was getting this message of you were the bridge, right? Like you are the bridge right now, even right now, with the way that your career is taking you, you are inspiring other people to face their fears, to walk across that bridge, to do something new, just like you did, right? So you are a bridge. And that's the beautiful thing about life, is that even in our darkest moments, we're still bringing light into this world. So if anyone's watching this and they're feeling dark, or they're feeling like they're really not in the right place, what advice do you have for them in terms of following their heart?
Relax, just relax, and just feel. How are you feeling? Where's that emotion? What
Mm,
is it trying to tell you? And I think the first and the major thing is, Paige, is not to be so hard on yourself, because
mm,
we tend to give everybody else grace but ourselves. Don't be too hard on yourself. Feel into it. Where do you feel that emotion?
mhm,
What is that emotion? And once you know that, and you know where that feeling sits, what makes you expand?
right.
What gives you relief? What excites you? What ignites you?
Mm,
Because
mhm.
really, it's what ignites you. That's your path. That's what you should do. That's where you should go.
And
And
what ignites you was traveling when you were
oh,
21. And look
yes,
at you, you are still following that same path. And
absolutely.
I call it following your joy, right? Finding that inner spark, that inner artist inside of you, that inner travel, like whatever it is that brings you that joy. That's, if you're feeling dark and sad, think back to when you were so happy you couldn't contain yourself. What were you doing? And how can you do more of that right now? Even if it's really small scale. If you loved swing dancing, then take a swing dance class or put on swing dance music. Just do a small step towards your joy. And the joy, like I think of life a lot of times like the Hansel and Gretel story, where you follow the trails of bliss, those little moments
Absolutely.
of joy. If you're feeling lost, look back in your life for those signs. Where did you feel the bliss? And then go back to that trail and follow it, and then look for a sign or take a leap. Like if it's swing dancing, start going, how can I swing dance? Where is there swing dance in this world? Put on some swing dance music, ask your guides, and then slowly start following the signs are subtle,
I
Larissa.
know.
What
Yes,
advice do you have
very.
about following the signs? Because I find as I'm more aware of them, they're sometimes bigger, but they're usually pretty small and hard to miss. So
It's
what advice do
subtle.
you have?
They tiny little nudges, tiny nudges. They tiny, tiny. And it takes courage, Paige. It really takes courage to truly, truly listen to your heart. So
Yeah.
have courage. And if you get a small little inkling, you might be sitting having coffee or speaking to a friend, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you would think of something. You would think, oh, something random, but it's not truly random. So if you get an idea, act on it.
Yeah.
Don't put it away for tomorrow. Or if something says to you, go to this place, go to that place.
Mhm.
Go to that place right at that time. You don't know who you're going to meet. It
Yeah.
might be somebody who will be a central key to your life forward. You never, never, never know who you're going to meet. Act on the subtle impulses if it feels right, or if there's a nagging something at the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. What have you got to lose?
What have you got
What
to
have you got to lose? And now I've got a question for you, Paige.
Yeah.
You said I'm a bridge. Have I ever bridged you anywhere?
Well, I you and I were in different years at the School of Wisdom.
Yes,
And
correct.
I was always very inspired by you and trying to figure out ways that I could connect more with you, because we weren't really, our worlds weren't quite mashing up. And I don't know how it worked. I guess I manifested it. I think we became a buddy on something, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Eventually.
Like, I will say, you a couple years, what was it, last year? It feels like I've known you forever, but I know I
It
haven't.
does. You probably have.
You had a Moon K fire rite, and that was an amazing experience. You led the ceremony with our friend Marianella, and that was an amazing experience. I'd heard of that, and I know that in your bio you mentioned that, and that was a big bridge for me because I felt the energy and I felt the empowerment of that moment. And so I would say that was probably the biggest bridge for me, was that program that you did. You also did another fire ceremony just recently. So you have these beautiful programs that you do, which help inspire us to let go. There's something very beautiful about taking fire and being able to release into the earth. And so, why
Absolutely.
don't you tell people a little bit
Transmute.
more about what you do, because that's so beautiful.
I really started with the fire ceremonies after I've received the Muneiki rites. Now, the Muneiki rites are from Peru, and they are a very ancient, came down through a very ancient lineage. And these are rites that we need at this time of where we are in the earth's ascension, really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they've been given by the Quero Nation. And when I received these rights, I received them in 2012. So it's been quite a while. Something profoundly shifted inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I really saw clearly in my on my third eye. I saw clearly what was to come, and there was such a big shift. I don't have words. So that was very profound. And with the Muneki, you feed your seeds. They sow the seeds. If once they give you the right, they sow the seeds in you. You need to feed those seeds. So you have to go and do the meditations and take fire, and these seeds germinate through fire. And so when I landed in this beautiful place where I'm living 10 years ago, I built this huge fireplace where I can have these fire ceremonies. And I always did them by myself, and I always wanted a tribe to do this with. And then initially I invited the whole village. um, yeah, they enjoyed it, but I was branded a witch, a Satanist, all kinds of things. So I realized, okay, it's back to me. And I did these normally during full moon. I did these fire ceremonies, and it's so beautiful. You've been there. It's about letting go and calling into your life what you need and what is next for you.
It
And
was a
so,
beautiful experience for me because, as you know, or some of my people might not know, I experienced a house fire. So it was the destruction of fire. And I've been so, up until that point, I was so afraid of fire. I was just completely separated from it. I'd lost the connection or the beauty to it. And the fire ceremony for me was beautiful because it brought back the gift and the healing that fire can bring, because I'd experienced the destruction and the pain from it. That for me, it was a really beautiful shift in seeing the fire as beautiful once again. And it was a beautiful healing to be able to move forward and being able to also claim my own power back. One of the things is, as for me, is I'm afraid of my own power. I'm afraid of my own light. And so being able to be in that ceremony and seeing the beauty of fire again was a first step in me reclaiming some of my power again and not being afraid. And you mentioned, we're all so afraid of being called a witch or all these things, because we're so grounded in the light and we're so working with source that we know there's nothing else even possible. But for people that are not in our world, it can be frightening to them because our power and our light can be intense. And I was leaning after the fire towards just kind of stopping and just being like, no, I'm done. And so your beautiful fire ceremony planted that seed for me again. It was being able to have the courage to be my own self, right? We can't affect how anyone else sees us.
no.
And it's hard. And there's this, there's the witch wound, especially for those of us in the US and like the New England, Salem, like we carry, the women of New England, we carry this witch's wound and we carry it deeply. And fire is so intense in our lineage, and to be able to have this experience where fire is healing. Fire can remind you of who you are and who you're meant to be. And I love the idea that you said of planting the seed, because really that's all we can do. A lot of people that are on spiritual journeys, and anyone that would be watching this, really, it's hard to follow this path in many ways, because most people just simply don't understand it, don't want to understand it, or are curious but afraid. And then so there comes a point where you have to just step out and be like, okay,
and just do it.
And just do it. And because if you're grounded in the light, you will always be in the light.
Exactly. But you just mentioned another key about following your heart is to stay open and curious, because we don't know what's going to happen. If you surrender and you truly live in the moment, every single moment, there can be nothing but joy. It's us. We overthink.
Yes, we do. Yes.
We try to control what other people think about us, but it's none of our business, really.
And we try to taper what we're doing so it feels acceptable to other people. So even though we get this idea from our divine team to do something, we're like, well, that's a little bit much. Maybe I'll just tone it down so that way people will. And then you realize that wasn't what I was supposed to do at all, because that was
but you're getting your own joy truly.
Yeah, following the joy.
I warn all my neighbors, stay off my farm on this night, because I might be dancing naked, but I mean, I don't, but that's what I tell them, so they can, but they probably come around and look, because they're curious, and if it gives them joy, that's wonderful. And if it doesn't, well, I'm just being me,
Yeah. And there is a point of just the authentic you and the bravery and the courage to be you, right? A lot of people say be you. It's a big thing now. But are we, if we were really all our authentically own self, I think this world would be a very different place.
This world would be more magic. It would be more beautiful, because truly you only are responsible for yourself. I'm not speaking about when you have small kids, then you're responsible for them as well. But you truly are responsible for yourself, and the world needs everybody to be their unique selves. We
Well, speaking
really,
of the world
really
needing
do.
everybody, what advice do you have for people to follow their heart, to step out?
Just do it. Be courageous. Think about it. What have you got to lose? If you think, what have you got to lose? Other people who don't care about you, their opinion? No, because we think people think about us and care about us more than they actually do. They focused on themselves, I
Mhm.
hope,
Yes.
you know. Um, so if just follow your inner bliss, that's where it's at. Be courageous. Be
Yeah.
you, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because you matter, and being you, that is the key to life.
And
That
if
is
I lived closer,
everybody.
we would be out at that full moon having fun.
Absolutely. I looked at the moon last night and I wish my tribe was here. It really is time we start teleporting, you know. That would
It
be
is.
awesome.
I know. But the beautiful, and COVID had so many negative things, but for me it was such a beautiful experience because I was able to meet you, and I now have soul sisters from all over the planet who get me. For the first time in my life, I really have people in my life who I'm walking this path with. I mean, I know Larissa, and you're in South Africa, I'm in New England. We have the most random times to connect, and it's beautiful because it's always,
Amazing.
it's just nice to know that there's someone on this world and this planet that understands you. And so if you're feeling lost or alone, you just haven't found your tribe yet. And you know
Exactly. And they could be anywhere.
it
It
could be,
doesn't.
or we don't need to be looking five in our if you go to the library and you start hanging out with people, 9 times out of 10 you're there wherever you are to anchor in the light exactly
Correct.
where you are. So I am in New Hampshire, you are in South Africa, because South Africa needs your light. And there's grids all over this planet. So if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling lost, know that you're not. Universe has you exactly where you need to be, so you can be you, so you can raise the vibration, you can be the light that you need to be, and find your tribe. And it doesn't necessarily have to be around the people that you're with. And never ever underestimate the power of planting seeds. Don't swallow. That was something for me, as swallowing my voice. My jaw's always been tight, my throat, because I was always swallowing what I wanted to say to people because I knew it wasn't what they wanted to hear. I was playing the game of the congenial, friendly person. And I would try to find ways to say all the messages I was getting, but it was constant work for me to control the energy to say the right thing, where I wasn't going to get branded, I wasn't going to get hurt or upset someone. And we've all got to stop that. We've all got to just start saying our truths, because that's where we start planting seeds. That's where we start.
Yes, I had to anchor the light here now, but I feel strongly that I got to anchor the light throughout the world now. That is really how I feel. And it lights me up because it really excites me. And I don't know what's going to happen always, but I know there is a plan. And I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes to this bigger plan.
Oh, and I think now's the perfect time to start talking about how, if anyone is listening and feeling the call to work with a tribe, to travel, to be in a sacred space with like-minded souls, Larissa, I'm going to cry because I'm so happy for you, because I've seen this evolving from an idea and a dream into a reality, and I'm just so thrilled for you. Larissa has had this dream of doing spiritual travel, of places where we, the collective we, those of us that are feeling the call, can come together and be together, not just on Zoom, but in actual ceremony together, anchoring in that light. And it's taken, many Akashic Records readings and working with our guides and so much journeying to get here. And Larissa has, with her beautiful experience working with travel with young children and with her beautiful, journeying and channeling and work as a guide and a ceremonial healer, Larissa has created a program which we can all participate in. So Larissa, please tell us about your wonderful, wonderful vision.
Yes, this is transformational soul travel, truly, where we go to certain places on the earth that we feel a deep calling for. And the first place is Egypt, because there's so many light codes there for us, and it's been calling my name so loudly, and I'm really excited for this upcoming trip. I'm doing this together with Shakti, who's a deep soul sister with many previous lives with me, and also a fantastic mentor and spiritual teacher. So I'm really excited about that, because she's also an amazing channeler, as you know. And we will be doing, this is my dream trip. Did I mention that, Paige? Did I mention this is my dream trip? We're going to have time between the pause of the swings. I mean, normally, if you go as a normal tourist, you have to stand on a platform and then you can view the swings. We're going to be right between his paws, where we're going to receive messages, channelings, light codes. We've got a 4-day trip on a cruise down the Nile. We will be visiting, I don't know if you're aware of this, the Nile River is, if you look at the shape, is formed like the spine, human spine. And it's got different chakra points.
No, I didn't. Wow.
We're going to go to all those points and work with the energies. We're going to be there on the 1/1/11 portal date. I'm so full of it. I don't know where to start. We're going to have alone time, 2 hours in the Great Pyramid, where we will be doing initiations. We will be at Isis Temple. We've got alone time there. We've got exclusive.
I'm crying because I can just feel how powerful it is. I'm just so.
It's going to be so
excited.
Awesome. We're also there for the lunar eclipse on the 31st of October at Komombo, which is the Temple of Shadow and Light. It is Sobek and Horus, so it's dark and light, and we are all both, and we all want to chase the shadow away, but we should truly embrace it. Shine the light there. And so we're going to help people doing that on that specific day. And I can't wait, because I know this is much more than anybody can think of or expect of. It's just going to be an amazing experience. And I want all of our soul family to come along, because I can just imagine what it's going to be like. And yeah, you've seen the itinerary. So What do you think, Paige?
I'm in awe of it. I am just the fact that I was able to see this start from something small. Like, we talk about planting seeds and the idea of where to go and how it's evolving, and the fact that I think you're exactly right, that this is going to be more than people can even imagine of what it is. I know that the guides I've heard other people channel, I myself have channeled. There is so much messaging going out there right now of go. If you're feeling called to somewhere, go. And that the process will unfold for you to get there. So, I'm in a state of trust. I would love to go there. So I'm trying to manifest that possibility for me. I'm putting it out to my guides and to the universe, and that's what we can do, right? Like, I'm feeling the call, and I just keep saying to the universe, like, I know there's magic in this universe, so show me how can I get there? And so if anybody's watching this that's has a lot of money, you could pay for my ticket.
There we go. That's the way to go. Yes, I totally see you there with us, Paige. What magic would that be, right?
What magic would that be? I know. But how do people sign up? If you're feeling even a subtle yes, my advice would be, because I do this, I immediately go, I can't do this. That's not possible for me. That's for someone else. And I shut down, do. And I get to the point where I don't even want to hear about how wonderful it is, because I'm like, nope, it's just not for me. I just close the door. And I've been doing that my entire life, and I'm not doing it anymore. So, I'm opening myself up to the possibility of magic. So if you're watching this and your first reaction was, I can't do this, this not's for me, I'd be willing to bet that it is for you. And that we need to challenge ourselves and stretch out of our limits to be able to take the steps that we need to be able to find the magic in the universe. So even if you feel like it's an absolute impossibility for you, as I do sometimes, right? We have to
follow
start
your heart.
Fighting against that urge to not even let the universe give it to us, because we've already decided ahead of time that it's not even possible for us. That's the place I'm in right now, right? Like if heart is a compass, it's about being able to say, if this is right for me, show me. Like there's magic.
To have the courage to say that, because it does take courage initially, right?
It does. And it takes a lot of like unprogramming, right? Like my initial response is always, I can't afford that. I can't do that. That's not for me. So that's a lot of nots. So the universe is going to, of course, provide exactly what we expect in this world. So
correct.
Heart is a compass. Following our heart also means allowing the universe the privilege of providing us with the gifts that we need to receive in this world without controlling how they come into us. And I for one,
or putting limitations.
Like I, for one, have always been very good at control, right? Like I'm going to manifest this, but I was manifesting crap because crap was the only stuff that I knew, right? Like it was just, it's like once you can start thinking like no limitations, better than I can imagine, right? Then suddenly the possibilities become bigger, because we, in our corporal bodies, in this human form, and the programming that we've received, right? We think very little is possible. We think our backyard, we think, oh, just this little bit. Joining the School for Wisdom was the big step for me of realizing that there were soul sisters for me all over this planet. Suddenly the world wasn't, my address USA.
Limited.
It was
unlimited.
It was the universe. And suddenly I was like, oh, right. It's not just about me being spiritual in my own little corner and reading my spiritual books and, trying to find my own ways to connect with people. I was like, oh, there's so much more out there. And that's a lot, that's challenging. But that's what programs like this do. They inspire us. A lot of times I find I don't even know what I want. The guides ask me all the time, what do you want? I don't know what I want. Because what do I want? I don't know. Fine. I guess I'm good. I guess,
You want to come to Egypt, right?
To Egypt, yes. So
there we go.
But then like we have to start thinking like outside the box. Like, what do you want? Think of something big. I was actually even listening the other day, a clip came up with the Pope, and the Pope Francis was saying, dream, even if they don't come true, dream bigger. And I was like, yeah. And that message has been coming in from different places. Like we have to start dreaming. We have to start dreaming outside of the box, outside of our backyard, because if we are going to be changing this world and changing our world, not only the whole universe, we got to stop thinking in our backyard. We got to stop thinking the ABC lineage. We've got to start knowing that there's magic in this universe and trusting it. So what do I want? I want to go to Egypt, Larissa. I
Well,
want to
you've
go to
seen
Egypt.
magic before. You're going to see it again. You really are going to see it again. I've got no doubt in your abilities, Paige. I've so enjoyed watching your journey and unfoldment and the amazing channel that you are and how good you are at the Akashic records. I mean, you just in like that, and the pictures you get is so clear that I have no doubt that you can manifest coming to Egypt with us, and I can think of nothing more fun than that.
Oh my gosh. Everybody watching, can you imagine being in Egypt with us? How much fun would that be?
Too much, I'm telling you. So yeah, this is the beginning of big, big, big things. Although I think this is going to be one of the major, major trips we're going to have with regards to things that's going to happen. I've been getting a lot of downloads from my guides as well as Shakti about what we can expect to happen there, and we truly are going to receive light codes, and we're going to be activated by the places we are going to. There's something
The
for us there.
beautiful thing is all of us coming together, let's say in Egypt, and experiencing this life-changing experience, then we all go back to our little places all over the
And we
planet.
spread it. We
We
spread that
spread it.
light and those keys, yes.
That's the thing, is like, before I joined the School for Wisdom, I was always trying to look for people around me that had anything to do with spirituality that I could talk to about this. But then I realized that I'm the anchor for this area. That's why my guides have me in this sleepy town of New Hampshire, USA. It's because I'm meant to anchor in the light here. And so for anybody that's feeling lost or sad, you're not lost. You're exactly where
No,
you need to be. But you might want to come to Egypt so you can bring
Egypt
back
is.
even more light, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We also in future are thinking Bali and India, and I'm coming to the States, and there's so many places in this world that's really calling, but right now Egypt is shouting. It's not even calling. So if you ever wanted to come to Egypt, this is your chance.
And I just want to stress that this isn't a traditional trip to Egypt. You
No,
have permission to get to places that no one else can get to. This is
correct.
meant, this is life-changing experience to Egypt. This is not just like taking some pictures in front of a triangle. And no, this is experiencing and feeling and being activated in Egypt. I remember being a little girl, and my friend Marissa Falco and I, blessings to you, Marissa Falco. She was such a good friend of mine, and I think about her all the time. She was like way ahead of me on this stuff. She was super into Egypt, and I was like, I don't know, what's Egypt? What's this? And she would like draw, and she planted that seed in me. And she was, so I still think of sometimes of her drawings. When I think of Egypt, I think of her art that she did in like 6th or 7th grade. And she taught me a lot about Egypt. My very first, like, what is this place? And her dad was a history teacher, so she had all this like wisdom and knowledge. But like, thank you. You never know when the seeds are going to be planted and by whom. And you never know, you coming back from Egypt with a little necklace might inspire someone else. Like it's these small little connections that really, really matter, that really put
No,
the world into
Egypt
perspective.
has always intrigued me. The mystery of it, because it is a mystery. We've been told that slaves built the pyramids. I mean, really? No. There's so much truth to uncover, but I've always, always, always felt the strong pull because I know there's something more and there's something deeper behind all of this. There's
And you
mystery, there's
yourself have,
secret, there's
speaking of Akashic records, Larissa and I have worked a lot in our past lifetimes. We've channeled with each other. Larissa herself has some beautiful past lifetimes in Egypt. The thing is we if you're feeling a call, it's not just a call, it's a remembering, right? And so if you're feeling a call, know that there is a part of you that wants to remember an aspect of you that is strong and beautiful and wise. And there's so much more to this universe than we can even imagine. And if we can just start being in a place of trusting, like I never knew that about the Nile. And everyone that knows me knows that I have a chakra embodiment course. I teach chakras. I've actually been guided. My guides keep telling me I'm going to do a whole series of like all the different chakras and the different parts of the planet. And I'm like, I don't know how, but okay. And you just telling me that, I was like, oh, that's part of my chakra course. How neat is that?
See, you need to be there. Stop stopping yourself,
Make it so. Make it so. Well, this has been such a lovely hour. Before we end, how can people get in touch with you, Larissa? I want to make this really easy for people. I want to be able, first of all, Larissa does Akashic Records reading. She does ceremonial cacao. I'm drinking my cacao this morning, by the way.
Wonderful. Open your heart.
She is an amazing channel. She is an amazing healer. We both are certified in crystalline soma healing. And I tell you, like, we give each other healings and they are profound. Like there's something about when we get together, the gates of the universe open. So she's just
Absolutely.
so incredibly talented. And so if you ever want to work with her, she's also got not just this trip to Egypt, but there's going to be other. This is a career. This is an activation of the planet on a global scale. And Larissa is the bridge. So if there's somewhere in your mind, you're like, well, maybe not Egypt, but here, reach out to Larissa and let her know, because that might be a puzzle piece that she needs for her future. We're all connected. If you're watching this, you're not watching this for a random reason. You're watching this because you're part of the puzzle. You're part of our tribe. You're part of our community, and we are calling in our tribe. And I will say that I love the word tribe, and I use that often, but I did have one time someone say, well, tribe isn't a good word to use because sometimes people were kicked out of tribes. I understand that. But this is the tribe that you need. This is the tribe that you have been looking for, where you are home and you are welcome and you are radically accepted as you are. No one's going to sit there and judge you for your thoughts or feelings, even if they're way left of field, because you know what? We all have those thoughts way left of field too. And in terms of healing and spiritual journey, like we're all masters and we come to help each other. There's no hierarchy. There's simply, we help each other here. And my way of helping you might be this way with a healing method, and your way helping me might be this way, but we're all supporting each other in this divine mission. So reach out to Larissa. If you can't reach out to Larissa, reach out to me and I'll get you connected with Larissa. But Larissa, how do we stay in touch?
Right, you can go to, and I will place the links here, to my Facebook group, Awakened Hearts Journeys. And you can also go to the Egypt website, which is www.theawakenedpath/Egypt 2023. But I think we'll put the links here.
Yeah,
so it'll be easier for everybody to get hold of us. And then there's one requirement. We require you to be you. That's all. That's it. To be truly you. That's all.
I love that. I just want to take a deep breath and breathe that in. The requirement is to be you. And my wish is that we are all ourselves at all times. No hiding, no masquerading, simply authentic. That's beautiful.
You just brought back something. One of the au pairs I sent was a guy, and he went to Holland. His name was Ainsley. I actually went to visit him in Holland while he was there. And he coming back was such a wonderful soul. He brought me a mask, those carnival masks, the little face, and he gave it to me and he said, And now you also have a mask because you go through the world without masks. Everybody's wearing masks besides you, but now you also have a mask. And I had it on my wall for years until it broke. And that always reminded me of that story.
Hmm. I love that. Yeah, that is true, because I've known you. Like, the thing is, when you're authentically you, there are going to be people that are slightly uncomfortable around you until they can shine their own light to be in your field, right? So the message that I keep getting is that instead of trying to dim your light to be accepted by other people, inspire them to raise their vibration to meet your field. Like,
I love that.
we all need to be our authentic us, whoever we are, because we came here to be here. Let's do it.
Who else do you want to be, Paige? Who else do you want to be? You got to be you.
Yes. Yeah.
Authentically you. Truly you. I love it. I love spending time with you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, it is my honor and my blessing. And I just want to take a moment, and I want to speak a blessing over you and over your trip and over all of the people that come into the circle with you to be a part of this experience. I wish you all safe travels there and safe travels home. I wish you transformative experiences and a lifelong memories and connections and a deep ancestral remembering and awakening of that which you have forgotten long ago. May you carry this new wisdom with you, this new awakening, this new remembering with you in each and every aspect of your day moving forward. Thank you to all the souls who choose to move and go to this trip in Egypt, so that way you can anchor the light of where you come from back from where you are. Thank you for the service that you're doing. Thank you for all of the souls who are feeling called to join you in this service, and for the service that they are doing, and for the blessing that they're giving this universe, you and all of us, for being our authentic selves. May the blessings be upon you.
Well, so it is. Thank you, Paige.
Thank you so much. I will leave the comments in the links of how to get in touch with Larissa. Please reach out if you have any questions. And it has been our honor to be here today, Larissa. I love you. I love you. And I am so honored to have you in my circle, in my world. It is a blessing every time I get to be in your field.
Thank you, Paige.
The
feeling is mutual.
And everyone, follow your heart as a compass.
Here we go. That's the way.
Yes, that's the way. Many blessings to all. Bye-bye.